Hey, what's up? It's Bill from HBSprinter, and today we're going to talk about building vans. After I had a design in my head, what I did was I got the dimensions for the van and I built it in a 3D modeling program called SketchUp. SketchUp is great because you can build everything and it's 3D. You can look at every angle, spin it around. You really get a visualization of what the van is going to look like. I had my SketchUp plan and I just printed it out on a piece of paper and I stuck it on the wall here in this empty Sprinter. I tweaked my design from there, to meet the real world. Things you don't realize, like, flow and getting by, you don't realize until you're actually in the Sprinter. The very first thing I did on the Sprinter was cut this van in. It was sketchy. The very first thing, you're up on the roof with a jigsaw, cutting a hole in your brand new Sprinter van. It was crazy. You want to find a jigsaw blade that has the highest tooth count you can. That way it won't catch as much and you'll have a much cleaner edge to it. That, and you want to make sure you mask everything off. If you don't mask it off properly, they will rust. I've seen horror stories online where people just, cut holes and didn't mask off. I made sure to paint all of the edges with a self-etching primer. Before installing the fan, I bought an adapter plate off eBay. I think it's Impact Products. He makes a plate that goes over the ribs of the roof, so when you install it, it installs perfectly flat. I use a series of adhesives to lay down the plate and then butyl tape around the fan and lap sealant over. The next order of business was to cut in these CRL windows. It was pretty simple. What I did was you cut around the factory line, and I just drilled a bunch of holes along that and then drilled a pilot hole, and then I was able to get the jigsaw from the outside of the van and just cut around it. The next thing I did was I built a subfloor. I just did it out of 3/4 inch marine grade plywood. I just took cardboard sheets, laid them out, took a scribe, and I was able to get all the contours, and then I got all of the cardboard perfect in here, and then I was able to just transcribe that onto the 3/4 inch plywood and then just take a jigsaw, cut it out. It worked out really nice. It's a real solid floor. Before the insulation went in, I used a product called Rattle Trap. It's basically a butyl tape that with a foil back. They say you can do about 25% of the panels and be fine. So that's what I did. The wheels I did 100% because that's where you're gonna get a lot of road noise and rattling and that. When it came to insulation for the van, I decided to go with Thinsulate on the walls and the ceiling, and I used a closed cell foam for the floor. What I did is I cut, for the ribs of the floor, I cut the closed cell foam to build up to even, and then on top of that, I put a layer of closed cell foam, and then that subfloor went on right on top. The Thinsulate I put all through the walls, everywhere, even inside the rear doors. I have aluminum panels on there, but where the window would go, that pocket, even down towards the bottom where the guts of the mechanism for the door, all through there. I even took down the headliner and put Thinsulate in there. But all these walls, every little pocket, even there's some strange pockets up and through here. So I was cutting strips, using fish tape, pulling through even the ribs in the ceiling. I pulled, I cut out strips and push a fish tape through and just pull it right through. After the insulation was done, I started it on the supports for this ceiling. I decided to mount them flush. Most people end up dropping the ceiling down a little bit, but I wanted to be able to stand up. I can almost stand up, but I'm a little bit too tall, but I wanted to make it as tall as possible. So what I did is my ceiling supports are in between and flush with the ribs. So I have 3 supports that go down this way, and they're supported by metal plates in the middle. that hold them up. So that way I didn't have to drop it a 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch, and it just gave me that little bit of extra height that allows me to almost stand up. Thanks for watching. I'll have a bunch more build videos coming out. If you go, oh man, where did he get that thing? Just take a look at the description and I will put a link to all the products there.